evening and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. I want to take a moment to talk about the week of welterweight boxing. Well, one that's retired and one that's, well, you call them suspended, but you've got former IBF welterweight champion of the world, Brook, caught sniffing cocaine. Well, yeah, and then sniffing off a table and then doing a pose while walking off. And then you've got Conor Benn, who for months went quiet over the whole PED scandal. And then WBC clears him, but British Boxing Board of Control, VADA and UCAD, have a different thing to say, and they're still doing their investigation. So if he is allowed to box by the WBC, but not by the British Board of Control, how can that be right? But anyway, I'm going to talk about it here right now on BWTM Sports Gaming. So, as we're here now, first thing I want to talk about any boxers. Now, I was in the shower early this morning, and I was thinking to myself, wait, these are boxers we're talking about here. These are guys that get paid to knock people out, to render people unconscious. That's what their job is to do, to knock people out and not get knocked out themselves if you're a fan of them. Yeah? Render people unconscious, break people's ribs, put people to sleep for a couple of seconds. That's their job. It's what they're paid to do, yeah, for our entertainment. They're not politicians. I don't understand where this rule came in boxing, where like our boxers are suddenly become like role models to the point where we hang on every line they say, and their personal life is our business. They work so hard, they dedicate themselves, they put their body through absolute, unthinkable things to get themselves in the best shape possible. Most of them, the professional ones, are talking, to deliver performances that we can go are epic or great. Whilst, now we're criticizing their personal lives, but personally, what you do behind closed doors is your business. You're a boxer. All I'm interested in is your career. I'm interested, of course, if you're doing things that are affecting your career, i.e., you're reckless and you're drinking and you're eating, you come to fights out, people see you when they see you before you box at fights, they see you fat and 2 stone overweight and stuff, you're not really living the life, then yeah, of course those are things that are of a concern, and of course those things as a paying fan, who's going to watch you fight, are concerned about you making weight if you're not a heavyweight, or if you're a heavyweight, making sure you don't end up like Riddick Bowe, just eating your career away. Those things, of course, we're concerned about, that you make weight and you're able to fight. Those things we should be concerned about. What you do in your house, it's none of our business, whether David Hayes got 3 girlfriends, 2 girlfriends, 5 girlfriends, or 10 girlfriends. It's none of my business. Do you understand? And I don't understand why boxing fans feel it's their need to know. They don't need to know about that. They don't even need to know about purse splits because they're not getting anything. Do you understand? There's some things in boxing I just do not understand. So, Brook, how the person was able to get that video in the first place on Brook sniffing, I don't know. And that's for Conor Benn. I'll go to come to Conor Benn in a minute, but the fact that he was sniffing and that was being filmed, why was it being filmed? Why would you want to film yourself, something so personal, filmed? Why would you want it filmed? Why would you do such a thing? I don't understand. Listen to Eddie 1 second. That was a joke. Raheem pressed him on. Yeah, of course, people are going to press him. Raheem pressed him on his BS. Yeah, of course, but only now you're pressing him? Only now you're pressing her? People are cowards. Why didn't you press Hearn all before? Told you. You see, what happens with people like Hearn is that you give them an inch, they take a nail. And then when they take a nail, they feel they can take even more and keep taking and taking. Eventually, it all catches up with them. It all catches up with them eventually. and he's catching up with Hearn. He's catching up with Hearn. The way he used to treat people when he was at Sky. It's all catching up with him. It's all catching up with him. Not why. Not why. It's all catching up with him. It's catching up with him. That's not my business anyway. But anyway, back on things. So so whoever filmed Kell Brook is not a friend. That's for sure. Clearly not a friend. Whoever filmed it, and obviously whoever did it was doing it for clearly views, social media, making money. But why would you want to throw your friend or your family member under the bus like that? That I don't understand. Kell said he was having trouble with his mental health because his retirement, but he's shopping around promoters for more fights. Doesn't make sense. He isn't retired. It doesn't make sense, Toby. But the thing is, we knew, like most things, when you have the buzz of the crowd, the adrenaline, people cheering your name, you're walking to the arena, you're on edge. Your adrenaline is your body's so used to that adrenaline, the big fights, the getting yourself into shape. You're fighting excellent weeks. The anticipation of walking out to the arena, all those fans. Yeah, it's me, it's Kell Brook. I'm coming out there. You're leaving that to being just another person on the street walking down the street. There's no sort of climb down from that. And I think there should be some sort of class or some sort of course that the British Boxing Board of Control has got to give to these fighters, that they can come, especially if they've been at the dizzy heights of world level. They've been selling out stadiums or selling out, arenas. They need to be coming down, but they need to be taken down. If they know they're coming to the end of their career, there needs to be some sort of program in place for them. I think Barry McGugan was trying something like that. Brook has been sniffing since 2014, and that's when I found out. People in boxing knew this years ago. Of course they did. It was exposed when he fought Carson Jones, all back then. And he was having issues making weight and stuff. And he wasn't making a weight right and all this stuff. And then he got stabbed in the leg. Remember all around that time? Yeah, remember all that. That's true. Don't think about that. Didn't think about that. I thought he'd be in gym though, in camp, ready because there's a lot of people who want him. Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of people may want him, but does he want to be a stepping stone now? Those are the things in negotiation. You're a stepping stone now. You're not the Kell Brook that was. So yeah, you beat Amir Khan, but people don't really respect you for beating Amir Khan. Do you understand? It was for that moment, it was great, but after that's died down, it's like it's Kell Brook. You understand? So these are things that. Thank you, Psycho. I hope you're well. Um, these are things that like boxing fans don't really pay mind to. Um, as for Conor Benn, I don't care about so much the 270-page essay. It's not that. I don't even care the fact of how it got into his system. Do you know what really bugs me in all this? Is that knowingly, did he knowingly understand he was getting in the ring to fight Chris Eubank Jr. juiced up? Did he knowingly step in that ring knowing he had that in his system? And the second question is, did he knowingly understand that Eubank Jr. was drawn in weight to fight him, and that at the weight that Eubank Jr. was, he could have killed him? And if that's the case, is there a case for attempted manslaughter? Never mind the PEDs. Attempted manslaughter. Because think about this for a second. That's what was going on. You knowingly knew, or you knew, or did you know you were juiced? I mean, it's just incredible how Ben has improved. Like from the days he was getting knocked down by that French guy to now blasting through guys like Chris Algerian and Van Heerden. You know, I so that's more of a concern to me. In the court of law, never mind VADA, but even so, if WBC has cleared him, how can the WBC clear him? He's not even a WBC champion. How can the WBC clear him ahead of the British Boxing Board of Control, VADA, and UCAD? Like, how does that work? Doesn't make any sense. Tyson Fury, let's not forget, was banned for what, 2 years? They kind of backdated it and kept it close, sort of like, well, yeah, you come back. There's money talks, but Tyson was out the ring for 2 years, almost, and suspended for the PEDs. So, what's going on here? Knocking former world champions out stone cold. Errol Spence didn't even do that. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's my concern with Ben. It's the it's the whole idea that this man could potentially have been juiced out of his head. Because you always look at Ben before fights. He was always raging. He was always raging before fights, and that was always a telltale sign of somebody who's on PDs. They're raging, absolutely raging. So I said before, why did they make Eubank come down to that weight? And the thing is, why is it just a fighter that gets done? I think if a fight is called PDs, the fight should go down, the trainer should go down, the promoter should go down, the manager should go down. They should all go down with it, and they should all be suspended. The manager, the promoter, the trainer, all of them. They should all be suspended. They should all be suspended, because if they're all suspended, I bet you any money this stuff gets cut out. If you suspend them, like, could you imagine now if Hearn was being suspended for this? Could you imagine? The promoter should have some form of punishment for this. And let's remember, let us not forget that while he's calling people drug cheats, did he not have Luis Ortiz on his card and promoted Luis Ortiz? Did he not have a certain Alexander Povetkin who popped 3 times? Popped 3 times and still had him. He had the issue with Dylan White. He had the issue with, what's this guy? The guy from the Sheffield gym. He had Billy Joe Saunders. There have been issues. There have been issues, not just one fighter or 2 fighters. There's been a handful of fighters that have been caught bang to rights one way or the other from the same promoter. So the promoter gets off scot-free and the fighters get suspended for it. Why doesn't the promoter get suspended? That whole clique, Hearn, Sims, Ben, suspicious for a while now. Yep. So you tell me. And I wonder now, when Conor comes back, will he still punch the same? Will he still have the same punching power? Will he still be smashing it in the gym the same way? Will he still have that rage when he gets into the ring? Will he be punching as hard? Or will it be the case, he's moved up in opposition now that he ain't punching as hard? That's more. Tibbs was so insistent on the weight as well. Said that they'd pull out of if they'd make it. That's my point. So, Sims or Tibbs, was it Tibbs or Sims? Sure, it wasn't Sims. I'm sure it's Sims that trains him. But anyway, the fact that they wanted him to come down that ridiculous weight, and then Ben was going in to do what he did, that's clear manslaughter there, is it not? Or intentional. It's the intention behind it that concerns me. If our own politicians who can't even do the right thing, and they're the lawmakers in this country, if our own politicians can't even do the right thing, why the hell are we looking at boxers? The world must surely be in a very sad state that if we have to use boxers to be our guidance in life. Now, I'm not saying boxers can't inspire, a lot of these boxers, the fight game is what's got them out of the position they're in. If they didn't have to box, trust me, they wouldn't box. A lot of these guys that wouldn't box, they didn't have to box. They could get a job that's going to pay them very good money. Why would you want to go and get punched up in your head? Then there are some crazy people out there. I'm not talking about them. You know, I like Ben. I like a tear up. I like a good old tear up. I'm not talking about people like that. Do you know what I mean? There are people who box, and you know they don't really need to be boxing. There's no need. They've got no business being in boxing. But it's the way that's their way to get themselves out of poverty. Do you understand? And I've got no problem with that. But it's when you expect people coming out of that sort of society, when they're coming out of their broken homes and all the rest of it, right? And they're coming from some really difficult situations and they've made something of themselves. Why are we putting all this pressure on these guys who are boxers, whose job is to render people unconscious? And we're not really putting the focus back on the real people who are meant to be making changes to our country and our lives. The politicians. That's my concern right there. So I don't I don't get all this, you know, hoopla over, boxers um, doing the things that they do. I don't. You're trying to get ahead, isn't you? You're trying to get ahead because you're not good enough. But we knew early on in Ben's career he wasn't good enough. If you look at Ben early in his career, people were saying, if he could get an area title, he wouldn't even get a British title. Now we're talking about him being in the world top 10 and fighting guys like Broner and being challenging Thurman and Pacquiao and nonsense like that. I mean, how does Ben move from Van Heerden to Pacquiao? I don't. Or Chris Algieri. How do you move from Chris Algieri to Pacquiao? A fight that neither Spence, Crawford, Thurman, no, Spence, Crawford, and Porter, sorry, never got to fight Pacquiao. But you're stepping yourself up to say you want to fight Pacquiao in the big fights. Why? And why is he allowed to just come back just like that? Tyson Fury wasn't allowed to come back just like that. What about Jerome Miller? That Herm was calling a drug cheat. He got caught banged to right 3 times, and he was suspended from boxing. We had a ban from boxing. Why didn't Povetkin get the same ban? I just don't look at Canelo. He got banned for 6 months and came back and made a career high payment. Didn't he fight? He fought Mayweather, but after that he went and fought GGG in a super fight. So you tell me, please. Can you explain to me, boxing fans, what the hell is going on? Because I don't understand what's going on. Because somebody please make sense for me of this. Sorry, yeah. Somebody make sense of this for me because it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. It doesn't. It doesn't. How much was that? How much was made on that video from Kell Brook? How much money? How much money do you really think they made from that video of Brook sniffing? He's not the only one who's got caught like that. Actually, Hatton got caught like that. Did Kawasaki get caught like that? The thing is, another thing, when these guys get to certain levels, sport, they start mixing with certain characters and going to certain parties. I heard this in the celebrity life, that they get invited to certain parties. And these parties, sometimes, like cocaine is slipped into their drink. I've understood what how true it is, because this never happened to me, get slipped into drink, so they become addicted to it. I don't know how true this is, but you feel a bit vulnerable, you know. And a lot of these guys are vulnerable. You know, after a fight, if they've won a fight or they've lost a fight, after a guy's lost a fight, he might be feeling a bit low, invited out to after party, you know, and he's feeling a bit low. Guy goes, why don't you have tried a bit of this? And that's how it starts. That's how it starts. I can only assume. Hey, try a bit of this, mate. Yeah, go on, mate. Come on. You have a bit of this, you'll feel much better afterwards. Whether it be, issues with the wife, issues with the girlfriend, issues with the boyfriend, whatever, you know, um, issues with the promoter, issues with the manager, forced to take a fight you didn't want to take, not making enough money, getting nagged by the wife when you get home, and the girlfriend you get home. All these things, maybe I'm thinking too deep, but, a lot of expected of boxers because, we look at them, some of these fighters like legends in the ring, but they're boxers. And I'm not knocking the capability of what a boxer can do, but I think there's a bit of an unrealistic expectation of boxers outside the ring. We tend to forget that because someone has got money and success and fame, it doesn't mean they've got the character to go with that. Yeah? It doesn't mean they've got the character to go with it. So, I don't, as for Kell Brook, I don't, uh, I don't really have a bad word to say about him. It's just what it is. You've climbed to the heights of being champion of the world, and you have your name in lights, and going to America and being a world champion, and yeah, big fight against Khan, all the lights on, the cameras on you, you know, interviews from everywhere and everyone, and then and the sort of respect you get when you walk through the doors, but now you're an afterthought. You're not. It's not like 2010 or 2015. It's 2023. You know what I mean? And you're not the man anymore. You're not the man that you're not the man you said you were. You're not the man you are now. Do you understand? Things have changed. You've got older. There's miles on the clock. Hey there, don't want to talk to you in the same way anymore. So all these things. Once upon a time you were the star boy. And then suddenly you're not the star boy no more. Can't get a front Ed there. Can't it's not happening like that anymore for you. So all these things start to have an effect. And then afterwards you think, right, I'm going to get back in there and I'll show the world I still got it. I mean, you tell me, even let's go back to the Crawford fight. Like, stories like Brook trained himself for the Crawford fight. Like, what? I mean, and not the only one. Robin Reed's another one. Robin Reed's I was a massive fan of Robin Reed. I didn't know he was off his head as well. Massive fan of Robin Reed. You see suddenly these fighters, they just career just sort of like dip suddenly. Like, wow. They just suddenly just fade away. You think they'd be around 3, 4, 5 years more, but all the hard partying and all the hard drugs. The biggest fight is to keep them away from that stuff. Which is where I go back again to something I said a long time ago about boxers who should have mentors around them, or minders, particularly ones that are, like they're making the money. Minders. I think every boxer needs to be educated on finance and how to, think about a rainy day. They do. And even if in the future, for guys like Kell Brook and others, but they have a percentage of their money is stored away and they cannot touch it until they retire or they cannot box anymore. I really do. So at least when they're retired, they've got funds there for them. And for them to release those funds, either they have to attend a course or they have to do a, like, back to, from being a, if they're selling out arenas and stuff, they move from selling out arenas to suddenly not boxing again. There needs to be some sort of a come down from that, acclimatization to um, civilian life, living a normal life. That's what I think. Um, because if not, you, you still think you are that guy that was fighting in the O2 Arena, or that guy that was fighting in America beating Sean Porter, because all your mind is focused on being I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best. Nobody can beat me, I'm the best. You've got to believe you're on hype, believe you're on hype. You've been doing it for years. And then suddenly, Father Time catches up. You're no longer the best. You're not even the best in Great Britain. You want you were the best in the one of the best in the world. You look at the newspapers, your name's up in lights. You look on the box rec, your name is there, #1. That's not the same no more. The whole world changes. Big fights and the money you're making from big fights ain't there no more. The people you thought were your friends, and they're no longer your friends no more. They were just hangers on. They've just been using you and sucking you dry. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too deep about all this, but I don't know. Just rambling. But for Conor Benn, if it is true that he knowingly was PED, and it's true that they deliberately brought down Eubank at that weight to fight Eubank Jr. to weight, then he goes back to what his father said is, you tried to murder my son, which then would make sense, because what Eubank Senior is saying is that they knew what they were doing all along and what the plan was, and they wanted to kill Eubank, if not kill him, seriously hurt him. Just think about that for a moment. Let that sort of settle in your spirit. I mean, we already had the tragedy with Eubank and Watson. And at that time, Watson had allegedly took blood out of his system, froze it, so it had more oxygen in him, and then put it back into his system, so that when he went to fight Eubank Senior, he had more oxygen in his system. So you saw what Watson was doing. He came out, or just came out. He did his first job. Watson said his first job was to remove Chris Eubank out of boxing. His second job was to become world champion. Go back and watch that interview, because he was just, Watson was livid. He had bad intentions and a real bad mind for Eubank that night. Real bad mind. Shows you how mentally strong, mentally and physically, Eubank was. Yeah. So, you know, I would like to ask Chris Eubank Senior the question: did Ben, his team, because he's saying now that Conor is innocent. If Conor is innocent, then who is guilty? If he's saying Conor didn't know he was PED, then who knew? Who is the I'm coming for you? Who is he talking about? Is he talking about the trainer? Is he talking about the promoter? Is he talking about the manager? He's saying Conor's an innocent man. And he didn't believe that Conor was. So he's basically saying Conor was stitched up. How was he stitched up? It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. And my thoughts on Eubank versus Smith too. just passing, flitting thoughts that Eubank, if he's to fight Smith again, how does he cope with Smith when Smith tries to close the range and put Eubanks back against the ropes? Because Smith will just take his time, walk Eubank down back of the rope onto the ropes, and then let his hands go again. Now Eubank can't get out of that position. I get nailed the same way again. There's that Billy Joe Saunders and him like leaving Ben Shalom so exposed like that. It's just so unprofessional, so unprofessional. But again, it is what it is. I mean, I don't think anybody will be able to do business with Billy Joe like that again, because you don't know whether Billy Joe is going to record the call and air you out like that. So there's that one. Who else? Tyson Fury versus Usyk is meant to happen in April, so I understand. Good luck to both men. Joshua versus Franklin. Yeah, Joshua make a statement. He's going to come out and do this and that to Franklin. Let's wait and see. Is anybody there still? Because it's all gone very quiet. Oh, people are commenting. Sorry. Didn't see your comments. My apologies. Let me see. I'm sorry. I didn't even see your comments there. I'm so sorry. Good evening, Leif. Hope that you're well. Sort of provokes the question: if we can't properly and equally police it, should PEDs be allowed to create a level playing field? I said this, Leif. Good evening to you. Good to see you in the room, brother. I said this before. The problem with that is, if you do that, if you do that, then what happens is that somebody is going to go out there and get something even stronger and stronger. Father is the best in the business, and when it's not Matchroom, why does my messages keep disappearing like that? And when it's not Matchroom, fighters get popped. Okay, of course, but if some fighters are caught, and why does it keep disappearing on me all the time? Caught and keep their careers. What is the point? That's my worry. Just drop drug testing altogether. Wow. Drop drug testing altogether. Wow. Check these comments now because it keeps disappearing the comments. I don't know why that is. Comments up. They were all on PEDs, especially heavyweights. Useless to discuss this. You really think Eubank didn't know? Stevie Wonder can see that Benny's on steroids. Interesting, Taylor. If it can't be policed, it can't be policed. And on top of this, we have unjust disparity depending who tests positive and the relative penalties. Agreed? Totally agreed. So just some thoughts to think about. Do they need to make a huge example Ingram like Ben Johnson Athletics? Yeah, they'll make a huge example. Make a huge example of somebody who is not a ticket seller. Because they will not make a huge example of somebody who's a ticket seller. Like, remember, Tyson Fury, for all he was and all he spoke and all he talked and becoming unified champion, he wasn't a big ticket seller in the UK at the time he got punished. He wasn't. He wasn't a big ticket seller. So, see why they threw it at him. See, they can see why they threw the book at Tyson. Jerome Miller, again, not a big ticket seller. But hey ho, Canelo is one of the biggest ticket sellers in the world. They didn't ban him. They suspended him for a few months, and he was back boxing again. Luis Ortiz is not a big ticket seller. So why did he get pulled back? Maybe he's a heavyweight, I don't know. Or maybe it's because they were trying to steer Luis Ortiz's career away from AJ. So investment-wise, that's probably a smart thing to do to protect AJ. I don't know. I don't know. But oh, life, a little bit of news for you around your area um, of Yorkshire. I think at the end of the day, I believe, I don't know if it's true or not, but I believe Dave Allen's making a comeback. So maybe you can get yourself down to a leisure centre and see the white rhino on his return. So he wouldn't come back to boxing. He's now boxing. That good money's run out, you see. Gotta come back and make some more. Can I ask a question on a different subject? Go ahead, Taylor. Fire away. What do you say to a Corey Sugar Hill link up? Corey Sugar Hill Ben Shalom. Yeah, I see that. I also see Boatsi replacing Yard. I can see that happening. Yeah, I think it's a good link up because I think Sugar Hill's going to give him that crunk style. It's going to use that jab, like the whole Tommy Hearns thing. It'll get a Cole using the jab. You'll get him firing that right hand more. Um, yeah, I expect to see more knockouts. Oh wow! Thanks, Ingram. I hope he stays healthy. Me too. So yeah, um, I wonder, and I also wonder. Add this into your mix, just for a second. All these guys we're looking at that we call in pound for pound greats, and all these great fighters, are they great because they're naturally great, or are they great based on substance abuse and they're big ticket sellers? And the guys that we don't think are very good, or we call domestic level, or European level, or just not good enough every time they step up, could those guys be the clean guys? And the guys that really make it the highest level and stay there are all on some sort of substance. Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory. It could be. At this point, I don't know what to believe anymore, you know? I just don't. It's like Lance Armstrong, where they believe, rightly or wrong, that everyone is cheating, maybe how they sleep. Yeah, Taylor, of course, I think that's a great link up. A Coley. In fact, I'd like to see a Coley wear the shorts. Although I think that Richard Riakporhe is better than a Coley. I actually think Richard Riakporhe is better than Coley. I think Richard Riakporhe is more intentional than Coley. Coley's good, but I think Riakporhe is more intentional. And I told people about Richard Riakporhe, and you saw what he did against Golaki or Golaski. So it blew him out of the water. And they're saying, oh, yeah, well, you know, Golaski, he was a bit past his prime. When I fought him, he did. Listen, if Richard Riakporhe had hit him any time, any point in his career, with that right hand, he would have knocked him out the same way. Please, it is common knowledge that everybody is cycling on PEDs. Well, according to that guy, the same guy that Ben uses is the same guy that Tyson Fury uses. So he basically, Mr. Dr. Usman, I think I posted on my channel, he was talking about when the best time to cycle the stuff off is. So, I don't know. I just don't understand how Ben is able to box under WBC ruling, but the British Boxing Board of Control. Remember, historically, just remember, Ben and the British Boxing Board of Control had a problem. Go back and watch the Doug DeWitt fight. Ben, after Ben won the WBO middleweight championship world against Doug DeWitt, he ripped up his license, the British Boxing Board of Control license. So it's not the first time that the Benns have had issues with the British Boxing Board of Control. So will it be a case of father like son? Because Benn's ripped up his license live on television. And he still went on and had quite an illustrious boxing career. So his dad was doing that shit, God, 20 years ago plus. Was it 90? It was not in 1990, because 1990 is when he defended the WBO title against, um, yeah, 1990. Was it 1991 he defended the title against Eubank? Because he fought Doug DeWitt, he defended against Iran Barkley, and then he fought Eubank. I think so. One defense of the title. Wrong. Somebody check that out for me, please. But yeah. I think that's it. I think there's anything more I've got to think about or say about tonight. Thank you all for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this this little conversation I've had tonight about special Coke Brook and Conor Benn PED. You usually get MBE, PhD, or OBE, or Sir. It's Conor Benn PED. Oh dear. I think I'll leave it right there. Thank you all for watching as always. This is BWTM Sports Gaming. Don't forget to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and smash the share button. Of course, 13,000 subscribers. Finally. Good night, Taylor. Good night, Leif. Good night to anybody else in the room. Cypher as well. Good night. Have a good one.